Okay, if you clicked on this video, this is a good chance that this sounds like you. And if it does, I want to help you because I understand this pain completely. In fact, I wrote these because this is the stuff that I used to say and I know the pain. And so please watch this video, take notes and like actually apply it because I'll be honest with you, if you watch these videos all the time, sometimes you can get these dopamine releases, and it feels like you're getting to the place you want to get to, but in reality, if you're not taking any action towards these things, then you stay stuck. Okay? So after you watch this video, please go apply this and come back and watch this as many times as you want. But literally, this is how you do it. And so for a long time, I felt like I was, these are the things that I would say to myself. All right. And I was working a desk job. And if you know my story, I literally hated corporate. I was trying to pursue my life in music. That was my passion. And I just wasn't getting anywhere. And I would sit, this was pretty much me. I would look at these computer screens and be like, there's got to be more, more to life than whatever the hell this is. And I don't even know how I got in this position. And so if this sounds like you, this is where to start, okay? But a lot of times people don't know where to start, and so I get these messages all the time. People say, I want to quit my job, but I don't know where to start. And so I'm sending them to this video. If this is you and you messaged me that, and there's a good chance that you're watching this because you sent me that message, and that's no longer going to be an excuse at the end of this video, okay? So the other question I get is like, I have no idea what to do, but I hate this life, or I want time back, but it just feels so freaking hard making money. I'm not the type of person who can just do that. I have, kids, or I have other responsibilities in my life that, that this just doesn't work out for me. It works for other people, but I'm just not the type of person, I'm not passionate about any of this stuff. And that's why it's so hard for me to stay consistent with it. Well, I have news for you that, you're not going to necessarily be passionate about any of this stuff because it's new. And when you start getting successful with it, then you start developing more of a passion towards it because it allows you to get your time back. And when you have your time back, you can do more of the things that you're passionate about. And so for now, I'm going to ask you to put away whatever it is that you're passionate about and focus on this. This is going to be new. It's different, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, you're not going to grow if you stay comfortable. And for the most part, you're not stuck, you're comfortable. Okay, I like to tell people this when they say I'm stuck, I'm stuck. You're not stuck. You just got comfortable in these bad habits, and we got to break these bad habits. So let's talk about the 8-step framework when it comes to escaping your corporate job without going broke, without risking it all. I did it a little bit more riskfully than I would recommend other people doing it just because of my situation. I didn't have kids. I'm single. I don't have any debt, and so it was a little bit easier for me to quit my job. But this works even if you have that, even if you have kids. People in my program have kids, have all the excuses that people give me. I have people in my program that have shattered those excuses and are now doing this full time. And so I know that this 8-step framework works 100%. And if you follow it to a T, I promise you'll be out of your job in like 6 to 12 months. Okay. So step one, okay, this is like, I like to call it your MTC. Okay, your MTC is basically your minimum time commitment. All right, and what I want you to do in this is make a promise to yourself, and I want you to keep this promise, and I want you to hang this promise up. I want you to put it somewhere that you see it every day. If you want to make it your wallpaper for your phone, if you want to print it out and you want to put it on your wall, that's totally fine. I had a whiteboard where I put my MTC on there, and I said, by this date, I'm getting out, and I tracked my progress every single day on that whiteboard. You can journal, whatever works for you. But what you want to do here is you want a firm 6-month deadline on your calendar. Okay, this is the exact date that you're going to quit, and I want you to visualize that. I know it's like people confuse visualization and manifestation, and no, this real, okay, because you have to be able to feel it. You want to feel that feeling of like when you quit your job, that freedom that you're going to get, because that's the thing that's going to drive you. When I was still working full time before I had any money coming in, I was waking up with a lot of excitement because I could see it so clearly what my life was going to be after I quit my job, having my time to myself, and I knew it was going to work. I need you to start waking up and feeling that. Okay, so this is why that 6-month deadline on your calendar is so freaking important. The key rule here is do not give up in the 6-month window. If you want to do a year, you can, but what I will say is the closer you make your deadline, the more urgency you're going to work with. And the way I explain this, the example I give is if you go on a vacation, let's say you go to Rome, and you've always wanted to go to Rome, but you only have a week there. In that week, because you have a deadline, you're going to squeeze in so much action. You're going to be, and I know this because I've been to Europe and I've done these trips. And every time I go, I'm just doing so much that I go to bed exhausted, and I wake up and I'm forcing myself to go see this stuff because I know I'm not going to go back anytime soon. It might be a once in a lifetime experience, maybe not. I don't know. But for the time being, I only have that week. And so I'm going to push myself. But if I was there for 6 months, then I probably wouldn't be working as hard, right? And so you have to I probably wouldn't be going as hard as I was, right? So you have to commit to maybe a short deadline, right? Like I would say maybe even put a 3 month deadline and just really create that urgency with yourself, because to be honest with you, the reason people feel stuck is they have no urgency and they have no clear goal. So if you have your clear goal is to get out of your job, you need an MTC, a minimum time commitment by when you want to get out. And just remember this, most people, to be honest with you, I put 2 to 3 months, but most people actually quit within like a month. I've seen it all the time. People that post consistently for like a week and then they stop and they're just like, oh, I'm not getting a paycheck. Well, newsflash, you're not going to get a paycheck for any business that you start within the first couple weeks, maybe the first couple months. All right. I know some people have been in business in a year and they still haven't profited. And there does come a point where maybe you're doing something wrong. So I would say if you're not profitable in the specific business that I am in within 2 to 3 months, then that means as long as you're being consistent, then it's usually it could be a skill problem when it comes to that 3 to 4 month mark. But please work on being consistent for 2 to 3 months and don't expect anything in return. Just focus on the actual skill alone. Okay. So now we have your MTC. Get out your piece of paper, literally write this. I'm not joking. Get out a piece of paper and write down the date you want to quit. I can't emphasize how important that is, because it does something to your brain. And every single day, re-emphasize to yourself that you're quitting on that date. Hell, tell people if you want. It makes it more real. Like I said, I put it online. I documented my entire journey, so it became very real. Okay, number 2, model of choice. This is going to attack that problem that we talked about of, I don't know what to do. Well, you got to pick, okay? The good news is there's a lot of business models you can make money in right now. This is probably the easiest generation of all time to make money in. The hard part is there's so many. Which one do you choose? I'm sure you've heard about drop shipping and e-commerce, and I'm sure you've heard about AI, obviously, and affiliate marketing, UGC. Maybe you want to be a painter. There's so many different businesses. My advice, as somebody who tried drop shipping, I tried Amazon, I tried building a piano course, I tried monetizing my passion, I tried making it in a band, I tried a lot of things. My advice is pick something online, because it's more scalable. And again, if you're working a full-time job, you don't have a lot of time to go out and do like service businesses. Okay, pick something that's online, that is scalable, and with possibly a low barrier of entry. Okay, that means that you're not putting a lot of capital down, right? There's a lot of businesses, like if you were going to go into Amazon or even drop shipping, there's a lot of expenses that you're not going to account for, that those people on those YouTube videos are going to tell you, yes, it's so easy. They make it look so easy. But when you actually go to do it, you're going to look at the money you're spending. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I've already spent like $2,000. And now I'm trying to run these ads and I don't even know how to make good ads. And oh my gosh, there's a lot more to most of these than meets the eye. But pick one. Okay. The one I would recommend, the one that I chose, and I recommend it because it's a low barrier, low up from capital. There's still plenty of room to succeed in here. Obviously, that window is going to be closing the longer, the more people are aware of it. But right now, there's a massive gold rush, and there's a big demand for content creators who know how to properly affiliate market, which is basically what I did. High ticket sales is another way you can do this, but I will say one thing about high ticket sales is like you should learn how to just sell in general, even if it's not high ticket, because really selling anything is really just solving problems for people. And marketing, especially TikTok Shop, you don't have to wait around to get on a high ticket offer, right? You don't have to create your own offer. All you are doing with TikTok Shop is other people's businesses that are already out there. They already have their product, and you are just marketing those products. So I have other videos that's full breakdown on exactly what I do. I'm not going to go so in depth on this, but basically all you do for affiliate marketing is someone gives you a product, maybe they send it to you for free. You make 15 to 20 videos with it. You collect commissions, 25 to 30%. If you kill it, you can get higher commissions, or retainer deals for UGC. They'll give you a straight up just 30 videos for $3,000 or $4,000, or if you're really good, you can do $1,000 for like a video, right? So this is the best business model, TikTok Shop, UGC. There's a new platform out now called Tribe, which is basically UGC, but the skill set is really understanding how do you create an emotional response through content, and how do you raise your odds of going viral more frequently. And that is what I learned and what I teach. And that is why I think this is the best business model, because you can do it completely on the side of your job. However, the goal here is to pick one. If you don't want to do this, you don't want to create content, you don't want to learn how to do marketing, fine. Go learn something else. All right. Go learn AI and how to implement AI in people's businesses. That's a very needed skill right now. Okay. A lot of people don't even know where to start with AI. You could be the person that comes in and is like, hey, I know I'm the AI guy. I'm going to fix all your problems. I'm going to make your life so much easier. You just trust me and you work off like a rev share or a set percentage. Okay. But please pick something online with a low barrier of entry and stick to it. Okay. Like I said, pick one and stick to it. And odds are what happens is you'll eventually find your way to success. You're going to fail. All right. Remember that failure is fine. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things and be like, oh, damn it, I shouldn't have done that. And then you learn. I still do that. I still make mistakes. And you know what? Every time I do, I'm like, all right, it was expected. I'm going to make, I made that mistake, but I'm not going to make it again. Okay. And so pick one of these, understand that it's going to be challenging, but when you stick to one, you're going to learn a lot of things that you can take with you when you do fail. Okay. And so prepare to fail, which is good. Remember, failure is fine as long as you don't give up. All right, this part of it. This part's very, very important, okay? And I don't want you to get this confused. I put strategic quiet quitting. Not quiet quitting, not quitting, okay? Strategically quiet quitting. My definition of quiet quitting is do all that is asked and nothing more, okay? This is essentially making your job as boring as humanly possible, all right? Where you show up to work and you figure out a process or a way to get your work done and get a little bit of time back. You are no longer the overachiever. You are no longer fighting for a promotion. That's going to scare some of you. But I have to show up, or I have to be the guy who, no, if you want out of your job and you've already committed over here that you're getting out, getting a promotion does not fucking matter. And I promise you, your 10 to 15% salary increase or that end of the year bonus is literally just going to keep you there for forever, waiting and waiting and waiting. You know how many people are like, yeah, I'd love to quit, but I'm expecting my annual bonus in December, so I'm going to stick around for then. And then what? And then you're going to wait another 6 months, and then they're going to give you a promotion. You'll be like, hey, we're going to give you another annual bonus, and then all of a sudden you're trapped there, and 6 years go by. You see what I'm saying? You want to get out of your job because you want your time back, and so stop fighting for the promotion. And I know that's like maybe controversial advice, but all I did is I was the employee who was quiet. I came to work. I got my job done. I never raised any red flags. If I was asked to do something, I would do it. I would never take on more work than I was asked for. I would never be the person in the meetings that was like, me, choose me. To some people, that might come off as like, oh, you're not a good employee. Listen, not to be cocky, but I make 2 to 3 times more than my bosses make currently for myself. And so I was more than capable of doing a really good job at any of these jobs. And I did do a good job, but I knew I didn't want to stay there long term. And so I did what was asked and nothing more. Why did I do that? So that I can get some time back and I can conserve some energy to the stuff that matters. Okay. Now, if you are doing that and you're not actively working on the side of your job, then you are a loser. Okay. So you don't want to be a lazy POS at work and then come home and play video games and do nothing. Again, quiet quitting means that you have a plan in action and you are executing on that plan with full intensity when you get home, knowing that you're going to be quitting in 5 to 6 months because it just became real because you wrote it down. Okay. Tactical goal. You want to steal back minutes and energy during your 8 to 5 workday. Okay. So that's what we're trying to do here. What are you going to do during this time that you steal back? Can you get out of a meeting? Can you, during your lunch hour, can you listen to some podcasts? Can you get off 30 minutes early? Can you do these things? Anything that gets you an hour, 30, 40 minutes back in your day. Can you pass off some work, offload some meetings? Certainly there's meetings that you're in that you don't need to be in. Communicate that to your boss. Hey, I'm in these meetings. I'm not really contributing. I'm not really getting anything from them. Is it possible I get back to my desk because I'd be able to be a more efficient employee? Sure. Like by all means, like, if you don't need to be in that meeting, fine. Then you come back to your desk. And then what you do is you start listening to podcasts what I would do is I would listen to podcasts or sales training videos or anything that was relevant to what I was doing, or I would study, and I would make an action plan for when that 5 p.m. hit. I'd get off work and I'd go right to my real job, which was working for myself and working on my business. Okay. And so I'm basically using my 9 to 5 to fund my 5 to 9 here. And I'm priming my brain for action when I get off of my job, knowing that that's when the real work starts. Okay. So yeah, you're going to be working 2 jobs for the time being, but that's what you signed up for. If you want self-employment, you want to do this in the least risky way possible in the shortest time period possible, you're going to have to work 2 jobs. And that second job you're working is going to be for free until you start making more money than you make at your job. Okay. So remember this, you are reallocating it toward your exit. Okay. You're not stealing time, reallocating your time. Okay. So What you can do, what I did for one of my jobs is I took a little bit of a pay cut to switch to a job that gave me some time from at home. And so I was in an office job 5 days a week, and it was really, really hard to work on my business because I was commuting like an hour and a half a day one way. So like my days were like 12-hour days. And so I took a little bit of a pay cut just to get some time back and work from home 2 days a week. And during those 2 days a week from home, I was able to work more on my business just because I didn't have someone peeking over my shoulder 24/7. So if you can find a way to get some remote days, which for most of you, you can, if you ask or you find a job that is willing, even if you have to take a little bit of pay cut, as long as you are working towards your business, I think that that's a strategically good move. Number 4, this is the part where it starts getting even more real. Okay, call it your MIB, minimum income budget. Okay, this is the exact monthly baseline required for survival. How much do you need every single month to survive? Calculate this number. Okay, cut subscriptions, car payments, dining out, entertainment. Okay, write down the number that you know you can live off of. Okay. Write it on a whiteboard and view it. Write down exactly what you need to survive. And the goal is hit this number. Okay. The goal is hit this number 2 months in a row. Because if you can hit this number 2 months in a row on the side of your job, you will have the confidence to quit. Okay. You will be like, okay, I have hit this number. I've smashed this. My minimum income budget was $3,000. I hit a $10,000 month. And so that I allocated for 2 months. Or actually 3 months, right? You know, $9,000 would be 3 months worth of income. I did it in 1 month. After 5 months of practically seeing nothing, I had a 10K month, and I was like, okay, now I've got, because I had $400 in my bank account the month before, and so that was good. I ended up quitting my job that month after, but I hit that, and that was my sign to be like, okay, I'm good, okay. And so this is a number that is gonna, think of it as like your peace of mind number, and it's something that you can actively work to hit. Okay, so again, making your goals tangible, not just saying I want time freedom, but saying I want to make $3,500 in a singular month to cover my minimum income budget so that I can quit my job by my deadline. That's a very tangible goal and something that you can go after. Okay, think of this as your freedom number. Please write it down right now. All right, next. You ready for step 5? This is the worst one. This is the worst one. Damn, this sucks. Damn, this sucks. All right. This is the point where you prove to yourself you are who you say you are. Okay. This is going to be long hours without an immediate guaranteed paycheck. And the reason I'm talking about this, and it doesn't have to suck. I mean, it feels like it sucks because it feels like you're working and you're going to question everything. You're going to be asking yourself, is it worth it? You know, I'm trading away all this stuff and I feel like I'm not even human anymore. I feel like I'm all alone. I feel like no one really understands what I'm trying to do. Is this worth it? And you're going to hear that old version of yourself calling you back. It's going to say, come back to these bad habits. Come back to play video games. It makes you comfortable, makes you happy. Oh, go back to playing basketball, you know, every day. That was me. You know, I would spend 2 to 3 hours a day in the gym. And I would be like, well, it's a healthy habit. Yeah, but is it actively getting me my time back? No. And so I had to get real with that. I was like, hey, like I can't go back to that. Like I have to hit this goal and then I can go back to those things. For me, it was music. Okay. I was like, damn, I gave up music for this and I don't even know if this is working. Everyone's seeing my videos I'm posting. I'm not making any money. I probably look crazy. You know, I'm not getting any, you know, I pretty much burned the bridge of any promotions at my job. It's hard. And so I'm saying that because I want you to go into this phase knowing it's going to be hard and embracing it. Like I said, like, yeah, it sucks, but it doesn't have to suck because you know it's going to suck, you know it's going to lead somewhere. Okay. And this one's really important here. Ignore advice from anyone whose life you wouldn't trade with you. During this phase, when you're trying things, people are going to start, you know, noticing. Even if you're not actively talking about it, they might see that you're maybe a little bit more distant. I had to stop going out. I had to stop doing a lot of things I like to do, and people would be like, "Yo, where's Danny? Like, you know, hit me up. You know, why don't you come out? Why don't you talk to me anymore? You know, why have you been so quiet lately? You should be doing this instead." I had to cut it. I had to cut that noise. All right. And so I had to start ignoring people who would tell me, hell, I had one person tell me that what I was doing looked stupid. I don't want to say names, and I doubt they're watching this video, but there was a group of people that were talking to someone behind my back saying that I looked stupid and I was scamming people online. I looked dumb, right? And I was like, you know what? I wouldn't trade lives with you. Why should I listen to you? I look at these people who are casting judgment, and I'm like, you're not even satisfied with your life. Why are you critiquing mine? Right? And so what I've realized here is no one from the top is going to hate on you. If you're trying to achieve your goal, no one from the top is going to hate on you. They hate because they're jealous they can't do it. Okay? And that's what I had to get around, because as human beings, we do compare ourselves to others, and there's no way to just not. Everyone says just don't compare yourself to others. Well, it's easier said than done. So my advice was like, if you're going to compare yourself to people that are doing better than you, and actively work to go catch them. And everyone else, ignore. Ignore, ignore, ignore. If you wouldn't trade lives with that person, then if they're giving you negative advice towards your business model, why are you going to listen? Don't listen. Okay? Now, if they're giving you relationship advice and they're 30 years happily married, sure, I think that you can learn something from everyone. But don't take financial advice from someone who's not happy with their financial position. Do not take business advice from somebody who does not have a business. Okay? Ignore people that you wouldn't trade lives with. Please start shifting your habits. Please. The reason that you're stuck is strictly because your habits. You have to replace them. You can't just stop. You have to replace them. Okay? So instead of going out on weekends, don't just stay in and play video games and be a hermit. Start skill stacking. Okay, start watching these sales videos and marketing videos. Start making content. Start creating more than you're consuming. If you scroll more than you create, you're going to be depressed. Okay, these habits that you have that you know are bad, if you want a new life for yourself, they have to go. All right, so that's all this this sucks phase. And guess what? If you can make it through this phase, I promise you, when you come out of this phase, you are going to be a new person and you will be unrecognizable. But most people give up here. This is where your competition loses. This is where most people get to, oh, I've tried, and it's just not working, and they go back to this stuff. I'm just not the type of person who can do it. It works for other people, it's not me. I'm just not passionate about any of this stuff. These are the things you're going to say to yourself during this phase. Just remember, you keep going, it will work. Okay? I promise you. Step 6, betting on yourself. Okay? This is the time where you start taking the money from your job and you stop spending it towards dumb shit and you start spending it towards things that are going to bring you closer to your goal. I invested practically my last dollar into mentorship and coaching, and I got burned on my first coaching program. The guy was supposedly supposed to coach me. He didn't have anything. I signed up with him. I paid $3,000 and he ghosted me. And then he gaslit me when I was like, yo, like, are you going to help me? And he's like, you're not actively reaching out. And I was like, I'm posting every single day. I'm putting in the work you're telling me to put in, and I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. And he's like, yeah, it's your fault. And I was like, what? And so, like, I get it. There's bad coaches out there. There's bad programs. But again, you have to be able and be willing to invest in yourself. And that doesn't just mean coaching or mentorship. Maybe you need a mic, right? Maybe you need a little mic to do content with. Maybe you need some better lighting, right? Maybe you got to invest in the softwares for, like, you do TikTok Shop. There's a software I use called Calidata. Maybe you got to invest $40 a month for a subscription to Calidata so you can do better product research. Okay? Now is the time you take bets on yourself while you have a job. But if you're so scarce and you're just like trying to hold on to every penny, and you realize that you trying to save every little penny from your job, it's not going to increase your monthly income. And so it's going to take you 30 years or 40 years to retire. And so it's better spending that money on you to increase that monthly income so you can put more away to savings later. But if you live in a scarce mindset and you're scared to actually bet on yourself, then none of this matters. None of this is for you if you are scared to bet on yourself. If you are scared to actually take necessary action and be uncomfortable, none of this matters. Not to say you have to spend a significant amount of money to be successful, but the person who does, the person who actually is willing to invest their last dollar, to invest and put it all on the line in order to be successful, they will win because they have no choice but to succeed. they will win. And you can see it in their eyes. Okay? So if you are not the type of person, they'll go back up here. I'm just not the type of person, who can do it. I don't have enough money to invest. Stay stuck then. I don't know. Okay? Now, learn the skill, be consistent, and then, invest as you go. Okay? So try. If you do this business model, the one that I did, TikTok Shop or UGC, it's free to do, right? It's free to do. It's free to make videos. And so there's no reason you shouldn't be trying and posting. Okay? But if you get to a point you're 3 to 6 months in and you have not seen any progress, ask for help. Go out, find someone who's been successful and be like, yo, can you help me get to that level? Because I've been trying and I've not been successful. The people who are the most successful in my program have been trying already. Okay? They've been trying. So this is the time where you have to take those bets in yourself. Every single person that you've seen online that's been successful, they have had a mentor, they've had coaching, they have had advice. Okay? Every single one of them will tell you the same thing. Okay? You have to be willing to do what the average person wouldn't be willing to. Okay? You're going to get to this point now, okay? You are going to be making money. This is the exciting part, okay? Is when you start doing all these other things, you start putting these action, they start compounding. All those actions, those habits start compounding. Now, you've made at least 50% of your current salary consistently for 2 to 3 consecutive months. Let's go, okay? Maybe you have 2 to 6 months of living expenses in savings. I didn't have this, but I had this, all right? Now, or you have unshakable confidence in your high income skill set. I had this. I knew that I had a skill set that I can turn off and on when I quit my job. So I had these two. I didn't have this, but I'd recommend, if I were you, having all three before you quit, just to play safe, if we're playing as safe as possible. But you want at least one of these three happening for you before you quit. Okay? Here we go. Freedom Day. Remember I said visualize that day that you're out of your job. You're walking in, you're submitting your resignation, and you're transitioning to full-time self-employment. And guess what? It's going to be scary. You will never feel ready for this day. You will never feel ready for this day. It will always feel scary because you are going against the grain. You are doing the opposite of what 99% of people ever dare do in their lives because you're willing to be in that 1%. Okay? It's going to be scary. You're not going to feel ready. But this is when you do it. Uncomfortable action. Because guess what? You're not certain about your future anymore. But prior to that, you were certain about a future you didn't even want. So I should make it a little bit less scary. Okay? Like I said, I'd rather be uncertain about my future than certain about a future I don't want. So walk in knowing this. Walk in knowing that you earned this day. And understand now, if you're starting from square zero, if you're over here, okay? If this is you, understand that this day over here, it's not going to take that long if you give it the effort that it deserves. I promise you. Okay? Now, from now, depending on where you're at, you might be over here, okay, in this journey. You might be over here. You might be in the damn this sucks phase. Great. What are you going to do now? Okay? Keep going. Invest in yourself. Go learn more skills. Maybe find a better business model if it didn't fit, one of these, okay, that I talked about. But you got to work with urgency. Now, I have a lot of other content on here talking about more specifically what I do, my story, how I would go about this, how to manage your time, everything you need. I've made content on, but I'm going to continue to help you. So please leave comments on what's not clear. Tell me what you need the most help with. Tell me if you're doing TikTok Shop, what you struggle with. That'll help me help you because I know the struggle and I want you to get out, okay? I've helped dozens of people now get out of their corporate jobs, make over 5 figures a month. If that's something that you want to do, if you're primarily in this phase, okay, let me help you, please. I have a website below and my calendar if you'd like to book a call. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, I have a program called the Escape Society where I help ambitious people escape their 9-to-5s through TikTok Shop and UGC. And if that's something that you're committed on and it's something you want to do and you're ready to rock and roll, there's like a 0% chance you're going to fail as long as you give me the effort, okay, that is required. Other than that, please like, subscribe. That helps me out a ton. I hope this video is helpful. If you feel stuck in your corporate job, I promise you can get out. I believe in you 100%, and you have to believe in yourself. Okay, that's very, very important. Anyways, my name is Danny, and thank you so much for watching.